So
Okay, so we're recording, and today I'm in the car. I'm in between stuff. I got stuff going on. You got stuff going on. You're trying to get out of town. We're talking about masculinity under fire today and what it means to lead like a lion, but love like a sheep. And this is a tough one for me because I've actually personally been struggling with this. I've been finding myself going back and forth,
mhm.
kind of, really proud of my leadership as a husband and a father and
Yeah,
a
dude, you're
Christian.
doing great on social media. I get to see it all.
Thank you. But then there's times where I feel like, man, I really messed up. And actually, what's funny and ironic is, or maybe not, maybe this is why we need to talk today, is this morning I feel like I really fell down. I let some of the stress of trying to get out the door, trying to do the stuff that doesn't really matter, impact the way I was showing up and how I was speaking this morning. And so rather than being a constructive leader, I feel like I was the problem this morning. I was I was the like, hey, let's be here for Danny this morning. So it's tough. It's easy to slip really quickly,
Oh yeah,
which is I tend to shame myself afterward. Like I'll be like, you were doing so good. Why would you let little stupid things take you out of your role as a leader and compromise that? Because when I'm leading and I feel like it's pointed towards Jesus and it's right on, and my wife's like loving that, and my kids are loving that. There's like no better feeling. But
right.
when I'm overbearing and obnoxious and not leading from a good place, there's probably no worse feeling, I feel like, for me, because that shame is so thick.
Yeah, and it's like when you're in that, you feel like you can't go backwards. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got to just push through it. And you're only causing more damage.
Yes.
But you're like, I'm already halfway down this road. I might as well just finish the stupidity and be done, instead of stopping and realizing and apologizing, whatever it may be. And I
Yeah.
think that's where leadership comes in, because like, what is leadership? Like, what does Christ say about leadership? You
Hmm.
know, leadership is servanthood. And so we have to look at that. I mean, look at how Christ led. He led by being a servant, down to washing of the feet, leading by example. And that's what we're called to do,
Yeah.
as men, is lead by example. And man, it is the I don't think I'll ever figure it out by the time I die on how to do that right. I'll be honest with you, with my personality. You know, and I think any I don't even want to use like type A, because we've gotten into this world of labeling everything. You know what
Right.
I mean? Instead of just being us. And I think that, where I talk about keeping it real and being real, of like, we as men, we have emotions, we have wants, desires, needs. We want affection. We have times where we just need a hug. You know what I mean? Like, we just
Hmm.
need a wife to hold us, or someone to tell us it's okay.
Yeah.
And that's not weakness. That's
Hmm.
meekness. That's power under restraint, of knowing that I need something at this moment that I can't provide.
Yeah.
And those are the times for me that I turn to Christ. Like, it's funny. I had not a similar moment, but an internal moment in my mind. Because I fight most of my battles in my mind right now. You
Yeah.
know, I don't have a wife to fight with. Although she was emailing me this morning on some things, but you're in that moment, Daniel, and you're going down the wrong path. I mean, you feel it. Every ounce of your body says, "I'm screwing up right here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pay for this tonight." How many
Yeah.
flowers am I gonna have to buy? But for some reason, that little devil inside of you just won't allow you to stop.
Yeah.
You're already worked up, you're late, you're rushed, you're stressed, you got this client, an emergency, you've got this going on, you got the podcast with me. And I felt it. And that's why I said, hey man, if we need to pause, we could do that stuff. But it's awesome that I've got you, and I feel you've got me, that we can talk through these things. And that's what the
Yeah.
hope of this podcast is like, okay, what does that look like? How do you
Yeah.
be a leader? And and like, the topic was, how do you be a leader without apologizing? The hope is you can be a leader without having to apologize. So I think that's kind of really the key thing. What does that look like? What does that
Yeah.
leadership look like? Of how can we lead without having to be forceful, be, nobody wants to lead like, Daniel, you need to get over here and you need to get this done. That's not leadership. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just dictatorship, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
That's controlling. That's controlling the environment. And I think for us as men, with children, you got small kids. I still have a couple that I'd like to call small, but they're growing like weeds. And it's still 12 years old, but he's still my baby. 18-year-old, and he's 6'6" and still my baby. But how do you lead them and in love, in compassion, but yet be firm and strong in your resolve of what needs to be done? And so that's a challenge for all of us as fathers. And for me, it's, that's a lot of starting my day off in the prayer, and putting my mind in the right place before I get going. Because, you and I are up early. We're already about our business before the kids are ever awake. All those things are going on. We're mentally thinking about work probably before we ever hit the shower,
Right.
So we've got to get our mind in that right place and ready for that day, because we know we're going to have battles. We know that we're going to have to overcome. We know there's challenges ahead of our day. Regardless if we have golf that day, there's still going to be some challenges. You know what I mean? Things are going to happen. So it's how do we prepare our mind at the beginning of the day? I just did a study on Tuesday with my men's Bible study, and it was really about that, the mindset. You know what I mean? What's the most important part of your day is what we ask these men. And you get all these questions. Oh, the evening time when I get to relax, or, this time and this. And the majority of the guys are like, it's the morning.
Yeah.
How do I start my day off? How do, one of the guys, he goes, I don't even hit the floor. My feet won't hit the floor until I've read a verse of the Bible, And so it's like, well, that kind of impacted me, and I'm like, wow, he does not even get out of bed before he reads a Bible verse. He's putting the word of God in him before he even takes a step. That inspired me. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
It is. And that's leadership. That's understanding who we are led by. You know what I mean? Even though the most powerful man, let's call it Trump, let's call it Putin, whoever you want to put as that powerful person in the world, they're still led by God. You know what I mean? They're still under God's control. No matter what we think or what we say, we still answer to God. Whether it's today, whether it's 25, 30 years from now, whatever it is, we're going to have to answer for all of those things. And so our leadership comes from him, and we lead by example. And so that's kind of one of the things that really just hit me when you sent this over to talk about is, who are we being led by? And what are we taking from that leadership that they're giving us? Yeah. So
let me ask you a tactical question, because this comes to mind when you're talking about this, and this is something that has been a struggle in my house lately. Wanting to lead by example and wanting your kids to have an amazing life, you want to help them to build certain habits and behaviors, and sometimes it can feel like you're kind of banging your head up against a wall. Like you'll say it, and then you'll say it again, and then you'll try it a different way, and then you'll try to come to it a different way. And eventually they get kind of frustrated. They're like, Dad, I get it, right? And it's like, well, no, you don't get it, because you keep doing it over and over and over again. How would Christ handle that? How would you lead like our leader in moments like that, when you feel like you're just not getting through, and it's not like there's just a disconnect?
Yeah, so I mean, how did Christ do that? I'm trying to think of an example.
Well, and I almost wonder, like, maybe he didn't get to that point in the first place. Like maybe it never got to him.
No, I mean, come on, look at let's look at Peter. He's going to deny Christ 3 times before the cock crows. You know what I mean? These guys still had human in David. I mean, a man after God's own heart. Bathsheba. The den. All these things he ran from God. I mean, there's tons of examples of things where people let down the Lord. And they were in His presence. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
but there's a difference though, because like Peter is like, they're he's fearful of his life in that moment, right? I mean,
No, I understand.
the situation is really different. Me, I'm talking about like brushing your teeth before bed, you know, like stuff that's not.
Hey man, that's a good. That could be life threatening. Do you realize your teeth flow into your heart and your canal, and the infection can go in? They won't do a heart surgery if you have a problem in your mouth. So, all joking aside, it's actually a factual truth. Just so you know, don't ask how I know. But those are little challenges. But okay, let's put it in perspective. Like,
Right.
how big of a deal really is that?
Yeah.
Is that worth that battle, that fight, or do those things? How can you motivate them to
Yeah.
brush their teeth? You know what I
Right.
mean? And I'm not saying that everything has to have a reward, a motivation, but you got to remember. I mean, your girls are what, 6, 5? I mean, how old are they again?
They're 8 and 5.
8 and 5. Yeah, I mean, 8 and 5. I mean, come on, like, is the world going to end that they don't brush their teeth that night?
No.
Absolutely not. Are they going
No.
to get a cavity overnight? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
One of the things, it's funny, I was talking to a parent about this the other day, and she was like, my daughter wouldn't take a bath. I own Sunny Buddies, the bath toy. So she was talking about, bath time, and we were talking about the challenges of getting a kid in a bath every night. And she's
Yeah.
like, so finally, my daughter, I was over there and I looked, and she's like, man, she really stunk. And she's like, oh, I just want to go do this. I want to go play. So she let her go for like 3 days without taking a bath. And finally, the daughter was like, I need to take a bath. I really stink. And she's like, no, you don't get to take a bath. You're going to go a week without taking a bath. And then the daughter was like, no, yeah, I need to take a bath. She's like, no. So she made her go the 5 days without taking a bath.
Wow.
And deal with the smell and the stink and those things and stuff, and said, here it is. And on that 5th day, she goes, I've never had to ask her to take a bath again. So, I mean, I don't know if that works.
Yeah.
Maybe like I'm kind of OCD ever since I've got my braces off of my retainers and stuff. Like I brush my teeth every morning and every night before I go to bed because I don't like that feeling of stuff on my teeth anymore.
Right.
Maybe you let them get to that point to where they're kind of grossed out about their teeth and they brush their teeth, and you're like, nope, not today. You can brush it tomorrow. And then they don't like it. I don't know. Parents that are out there that are watching this, man, you might say we're way off whack as guys, but
well, and I think the parents that are out there listening to it are thinking what I'm thinking. Some of them are, which is, it's not right. Like if you take it as an isolated issue, like brushing teeth, not that big of a deal. They missed a night, right? Not a big. But it's not just that. It's like all there's like 100 of those in other areas that are like you're constantly trying to help with, and it's like it can be exhausting. And so as a leader,
it is exhausting. It can't be exhausting. It is exhausting. But
yeah,
I've raised, for those of you who are watching, I've raised 5 boys, 1 girl, a couple of nieces. So man, I am not a stranger to having complications in my house. Getting them to do chores, and my methods might not always be the most politically correct. And I'll give you some examples. My kids wouldn't take the trash out. So if I got to do your chore, I'm going to do it my way. So I took all the trash in the house and I put it on his bed. So when he came home from school, his room smelled like the trash can, and you're going to sleep with it or you're going to go take it out. My kid wouldn't pick up the dog poop. I put cardboard down on his bed. I picked up all the dog poop, put it on his bed. And when he came home from school, that's what was there. Well, you know what? He never missed a day of picking up dog poop again. They never missed picking out the trash again. Is that an unorthodox way of doing things? I don't know. But there are those challenges. And so I guess what your question is how do we do this in all of those little things? I'm also not a fan that you have to motivate every little thing, because then it's like training a dog. If you constantly motivate with giving a reward, then they're going to want a reward every time they do something. Well, that's not it. The reward is you did the right thing. You did what need to be done. So I'm not a big reward system. Am I a big thing of rewarding for good behavior and good of those things? Yeah, when they're doing it out of the normal context of what the discipline is. Like my house, we have no allowance for chores.
Yeah.
You're part of this family. It takes all of these things to make this house go around, whether it's cleaning up, whether it's doing dishes, whether it's mopping, whatever. all of those things. It takes all of us. Now, if we got to go out and the weeds are a little bit out of control and it's a little overwhelming and a storm came and it blew the stuff, okay, we'll get out there and like, hey, go $20, man, go get this done so I don't have to go do it. 100%. I agree with that. But my kids also we're blessed enough that we don't want for a lot. They have the clothes on their back, shoes, they have nice cars, they have nice things in life. So, but they also are participants in what we do. Now you've got young ones. But this is that training, we're training them to be, you got girls. Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, there's going to be some people that are going to hate me for this, but I go back to God's gender roles. You know what I mean? Of what a wife is. And, you're raising future wives, right? What does that look like? What is it? Future moms? What are those roles and those things look like? And that's what you're training them up. Future employees of a job. What does that look like? If you show up late all the time, well, you're going to be fired. And if you're not doing what your boss asks you to do, you're going to be fired. You know what I mean? And you and I are blessed that they don't get to see us on a 9 to 5, where most people go to work, come home, and it's different. We don't have that luxury. What I mean? So they don't see a normal life. So you have that challenge on top of it as well. But I guess it's also going back to that leading by example. Watching you do the things that are right, watching you do. Whether it's brush the teeth, watching you take out the trash, watching you do the things around the house that need to be done. They're so young, and part of me realizes you don't want to rob a kid of being a kid. You know?
Yeah.
My Lord, they're only 5 and 8 years old. They can only help physically so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you want them to still have that amazing childhood experience of playing with their friends. But for me, life has responsibility. And my wife and I had a little bit of a difference on this. I was always come home, get your chores done, then your homework, and then you get to go play. A lot of people like them to come home, get their homework done, then get your chores if there's time, and then go play. I was always different. I always wanted the responsibilities of the home first, and us as a family, teaching them that's the priority. And then you have the responsibility of the education and the school and all that stuff. Each his own, every family's got to have their own dynamic in that way. But that's what worked for us and worked for me, and it's been successful.
As you're talking, Kevin, this is what I want to close on. I want you to speak to this if you can. I was thinking about God and how he made us in his image, but gave us free will. And I always think about things from his perspective, like watching us go through the same challenges, the same issues. It's probably got to be even more so frustrating for God watching us continue to sin and continue to mess up just over and over and over again. But then you think about it and you're like, well, he really gives us the freedom to learn this stuff on our own in a lot of ways, and look to him and create moments of faith during hardship and reach out. And it's like, and even during good times. So it's like, part of me wonders if there's a part that we're supposed to emulate on that. Like maybe there's supposed to be some element of, you got to just let some of your family members learn things 100%. On their own without, and that hurts because it's like sometimes those things impact you, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like good example is we built that she shed in the backyard for the girls.
Which is awesome,
right? But it's like a little room. It's not a shed. It's like, it's got drywall, it's got flooring, it's nice in there. It's
I know, it's like 10 by 8 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a little house, right? Well, my wife and I have probably told them 10,000 times at this point to make sure when you're done playing in it to shut it, right? Well, every day that thing is wide open. And yesterday or 2 days ago, there was a monsoon that came through. So I'm like, dude, I'm trying to let you learn this lesson, but like this thing's gonna get like water damage. Like the rain was like sideways, which never happens in Arizona other than a monsoon,
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you gotta let them learn, but sometimes it hurts because you're literally letting yourself go, okay, well, I'm gonna have to fix this at some point, so that's the challenge.
The door was left open, put a lock on it, you're out of it for 3 days.
Yeah.
you're out of it. And, and like you said, how does God teach us, right? And you hear this throughout the Bible, you hear this through all of these things. You ask God for patience, he gives you opportunities to be patient, right? You ask God for, different things in your life, he gives you those opportunities. We go through that fire, like, you talk about the refiner's fire. Gold is refined by turning up the heat, scraping the crap off, turn up the heat again, get the rest of the crap off. Well, he does that in our lives of those different things. I joke like, man, please do not pray for patience. I do not want to learn it anymore. I'm done. Pray for anything else but patience. You know what I mean? You pray for strength. Well, he gives you opportunities to be strong. And it's not just something you put on a post. It's not something you put on a card. It is really the way it is. So when you get to that mind, you go back to that mindset, right? How do you get your mindset that, okay, well, if I know I need strength, well, I'm going to give opportunities to be strong. So I'm mentally prepared that when I'm praying for that, those challenges that are coming up to me, I'm looking for that opportunity to be strong. I'm looking for that opportunity to be kind. I'm looking for that opportunity to be patient. So I have to program my mind and change. I've been praying for some of those things in my own life. And, some of you know that I've been through a divorce, and, I still got a good relationship. I went to dinner with my ex and family the other night. It was great. I got to sit next to her. It was amazing. We all got along, and that's a modeling of an opportunity. Can I actually sit there, and go through that? And it's not easy. It's painful. You're sitting next to a person you spent 26 of your life with that you love. You want to reach over and grab her leg, and you want to reach over and hug her, and you want to reach over and kiss her, and you can't do that anymore. You know what I mean? And so that's, I'm finding that strength that I can still do that because the Christ I have in me. How can I show her I'm different? How can I show the kids that I can live out my faith and be a Christian and still love somebody that I know doesn't love me? How can you really love your enemy? Now, I'm not saying she's my enemy or that stuff. I don't want that to come across that way. No. But really, honestly, she's no longer my wife. So if you don't, like Christ, I really look at this as, and I think we don't always really understand this, is God says you're either for me or against me. And I look at that in life with people. You're either for me or you're against me. There is no in between. I don't have an in between. My mind doesn't function in that gap. You're either with Kevin or you're against Kevin. And that's just how I look at life. Wrong or indifferent. And when I say against, I'm not like, well, Daniel's against me, so damn you, you're going to hell. That's not it. It's just you're no longer my friend. I don't want to say you're my enemy because I will pray for you and do those things because that's what we're called to do. But I know I don't embrace those that relationship, And so we look for those opportunities to flourish in the areas that we're weak in. So how do we become strong in patience? Well, find those opportunities to be patient, and that sucks. Okay. Like you said, it's going to be painful. Now, me personally, I could tell you from a physical standpoint, if I told my kids that many times, I'd walk out there, I'd get a drill, I'd get a lock, I'd lock the door. You're out of there. You can't figure out how to close the door. Well, then I'm going to show you how it stays closed for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So I would do that. Is that right? I don't know. Is that wrong? I don't know. But it worked for me in certain areas. I locked them out of my barn. You can't figure out how to put the tools back? I locked the door. Well, I need to get in the barn. Oh, should have thought about that last time you left the tools laying on the table. So now you'll remember. And then the next time I go back there, it's like amazing. My tools are wiped, they're clean, they're put away. Hey, it worked. Yeah. So, but we have to embrace those opportunities to get through those challenges of what you're going through. But how do you do that in love? Not out of anger, not out of frustration, but truly out of love, because you really want them to be the best little human beings they can, right? And you want them to love the Lord. So tough love is love, and that was, tough love I learned from Dobson. Unfortunately, I think we lost him. I think it was last week. Dr. Dobson died, actually. But that man was amazing. Focus on the family. He had a lot of wisdom in those things. So embrace those challenges, embrace that God's not only teaching them things, he's teaching you.
Right.
He's teaching your wife. And so these are teachable moments in them, but let's be honest, they're probably more teachable to you.
Yeah.
Because think about how he deals with us. So you're
Yeah.
frustrated that your little girls can't close the door. Well, he's frustrated that Daniel can't come talk to him in the morning because he's too busy.
Yeah.
Come on, it's like, I know it's
So true.
Weird. It's weird to put those things in that perspective, but I wasn't able to change things in my life until I really looked at it as like, man, that's what God sees me as a child. I'm screwing up here, here, and here. I'm worried about my kid not putting his dirty socks away. Well, God's worried about me not putting my dirty mouth away because my mouth is affecting my witness for him, but a dirty sock is affecting the smell of his room. I don't even have to deal with it. It's only when I walk in there, So it's making me think about the things that I'm not doing right with the Lord, the language I use, the responses of negativity in my business or things that when I get frustrated, so now I just even sitting here talking, I'm like, damn, I made a mistake yesterday on that. And I made a mistake on it this morning with one of my staff, and I'm thinking, but now am I going to be down? No. Now I'm like, okay, now I know Daniel and I talked about this. All right, what can I do better this afternoon? How can I be better? So it's challenging me. So look at it as a challenge. I mean, come on, you like challenges. You like to overcome.
I do. And this is super motivating, exciting for me. Like my heart is overjoyed that we had this conversation because I took so much out of this. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Today was big for me. I needed this topic was just right on for what I'm dealing with this week and this morning.
I'm talking to myself thinking, oh my gosh, Kevin, you were a bonehead this morning.
I was a bonehead this morning.
Hi, we're boneheads. Welcome to the club.
Hey, good morning.
I'm a boneheadaholic.
Oh my gosh, I could be the president of Boneheadaholic.
I'll be the VP.
Okay. Dude, this is awesome. Kevin, I love this process with you. I'm so glad we made the time to create because honestly, this was like not only therapy but prayer. It was a good example of reminding me how to love the way that I'm loved, and I did learn a lot this morning. So I hope other people did too.
Yeah, me too. It's like and I look forward to it every week. It's so exciting to be able to share my love and passion of the Lord and my love and passion for men and family and business and those things. And it's like we've got a short window left on this earth, man. I just want to be impactful for what the time that I have.
Amen. Me too. I'm with you, brother. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Next week, what are we talking about next week? We'll pick a good topic.
We'll find something.
I got a couple of ideas that I wanted to run past you. Hang on real quick while I got you.
No problem.
So let's look at did we do the silent war? Why Christian men are winning in business but losing at home?
No, that's a good one.
That'd be a good one. And then this is another good one. The provider's paradox. When being a great man means saying no to more money.
Ouch.
Yeah.
that's what I'm struggling with right now, actually.
Well, there we go. I think that speaks to I do too. So I think we should take those two on and see what we can come up with next week.
Done. I'm in, man. Oh man, now you're gonna. Oh gosh.
Sorry, I got a little bit of that too this morning. So.
Ouch, man. Oh. Try that beer. Might have a heart attack.
No, don't. Be careful.
Daniel's trying to kill me off, guys. What is he doing?
Gosh, I'll pray for you, dude. Hey, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. We'll catch up next week.
You got it, brother.
Hey, man.
All right. Bye.
Take care.